Hey, what's up? My name is Yaya, and I'm here with Musician Playground, and we are going to interview a four-time Grammy winner producer, a personal friend of mine, and personally, I think he's the best producer on the West Coast. Maybe because he's my friend, and maybe because it's the West Coast. But anyway, he has worked with various artists such as Miguel, Usher, Janet Jackson, Shaka Khan, Ice-T, you name it, he has worked with them all. His name is Avila. He is with the Avila brothers. So here he is.
Initiate radar.
First question I have for you is, how did you get started in music?
Ooh, I'm gonna give you the short version. That actually came by. My father was actually a musician. He was a keyboard player, and how I ended up falling in love with music was I actually would sit down as a kid. I would sit down next to the drummer in his band and watch them rehearse. They used to rehearse in the garage, and the garage was literally like right behind mine and my brother's room, so we couldn't get no sleep. So my pops was like, "Well, if you're gonna be up, come in here and hang." So I'd go sit by the drummer, and my brother would go sit by the keyboard player, and I would just sit and watch him. And next thing I know, I was like, "Dad, I want a drum set." And that's kind of like, that's really where it all began.
So would you say the drums is the first instrument you learned how to play?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Is it your favorite?
It is, man. I've just always liked rhythms and grooves, and I just remember being a kid, and I was always intrigued by just what the drummer was doing.
Yeah. So what other instruments have you learned, or I guess that you want to learn?
Well, throughout the years, I think, I've dabbled in a couple, like bass, and it's cool with bass because bass and drums kind of work hand in hand. I can get around a little bit on the piano and the guitar, but I mean, I would really love to be a lot better at those instruments because they say, especially with piano is one of those instruments they say kind of unlocks all the other instruments.
Right.
But yeah, that's pretty much it.
When did you realize you actually wanted to make this an actual career? Because I know that you started listening to your dad and wanting to play the drums, but when was it like, you know what, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life?
Yeah, I think, I was 5 when I started playing. I think just going through the journey of being a kid, being into music, and then getting to a point where I was either 15 or 16 and realizing like, this is going to become like somewhat of a job career kind of thing, and I'm down, was pretty much all I knew. But it didn't really hit me till I was probably in my early 20s, and then I was like, okay, we got to figure out how to make this work so that we can actually eat and it can be a career. Because for the most part, when you're that young, I mean, you're just having fun. You know what I'm saying? It was fun playing and stuff. So it took a while for it to get to that point.
Yeah. Good. Yeah. So, I was looking at your bio, which is very impressive, and I gotta say, Iz is a very professional man. So I'm very impressed by you. And I've seen that you've worked with artists such as Usher, Janet Jackson, which I would give to be her backup dancer, Shaka Khan, you name it. There's so many names, especially Raphael Sadiq, one of my all-time favorite artists. Who was the first artist to actually, I guess, that you landed a placement with?
Right. Man, that's, I'm going to have to say that probably was Ice-T, strangely. But
yeah,
it was a record I did with Ice-T and King T, which was in, I want to say, not even 2000, maybe 94. And that was like, I remember that moment. I was like, because I had got a call from one of my buddies that had worked on the beat with me, and I was like, wow. I was like in awe, like, dang, okay, cool. When is it coming out? What's the date, man? Can I get, credits or whatever? That was probably my very, very first.
Okay. So before you landed Ice-T, how did you go about trying to get people to listen to your music and get those connections?
Then it was extremely different because obviously we didn't have what we have now, which is the internet and various, sound platforms for your music. But I remember then it was pretty much just about dropping beats and putting them on CDs or tapes and kind of just circulating them into like the communities of, and at that time in LA, we had a couple spots like Project Low or Elements where, it was like the culture of hip hop was very much present. And I just remember circulating music and CDs and cassettes at that time, just beats.
Nice.
That's how we did it then.
Nice.
Yeah.
So, do you consider yourself a producer, a beat maker, or a musician?
I consider myself to be all of those. However, I do consider myself mainly to be a musician and a songwriter. Because I believe, the core of me is obviously the musicianship and my passion for drums and that types of things. But, I feel like they all play an incredible role into the craft of songwriting. And, I tend to, because I talk to a lot of cats who are a lot younger, who are, on the come up making beats, and I always stress the importance of knowing all the facets, not just making a beat, but knowing how to structure a song and musicianship. So, yeah, I would say all three of those.
Yeah. So I hear that the drummers, they're the ones that get all the groupies. So tell me, how does that feel? Like, how did you manage?
Here's the great, the thing with being a drummer is because you need help. Like, you got to set this up, you got to set this stand up, and you tend to take on the most roadies that can help you. But, honestly, and this is a testament to my dad, because one of the things he instilled in me and my brother early on in was, if there's anything that's going to distract you, it's going to be a woman. So, I always kind of had that implanted in my head, while we were on this journey, because I didn't want to be distracted. And I saw so many people be, their focus kind of disappear, whether it was success, whether it was women, whether it was drugs. And, I just always had that in the back of my head, like, man, stay on the course. And so it never really was of any interest to me.
Yeah.
It just... And I think it had a lot to do with me being around it when I was really young, because my pops used to sneak me and my brother into the nightclubs that they would play in. So I see all these grown folks, like, doing the thing, drinking, and I was just like, I want to get out of here.
Yeah.
So just that experience alone just always kind of kept me like, no, let me stay making music.
Yeah. You answered that like a true professional. I wonder who your PR is. Just kidding. No, I believe what you're saying.
If I did it, like, there'd be evidence everywhere, because I probably have kids everywhere.
Yeah, of course.